So, game number 2 of this best of 3 is about to unfold. I hope you're ready for this, because game number 1 was pretty epic with an awesome timing coming down from Daisy, of course, giving Daisy the 1-0 advantage there on the scoreboard. For anyone who doesn't know, cool scoreboard down here, just right at the mini-map at the bottom. Always good times, let you know what's going on. It's best of 3, WCS EU Challenger. If you haven't watched game 1, should bounce to my YouTube channel. Find game 1 and watch that, because otherwise game number 2 could be a bit out of context. Won't know many of the things I talk about, especially when I talk about game number 1. But anyway, down in the bottom left we do see that spawning as the red Protoss player from Mad Catz, Western Wolves, it is Daisy. Is it Mad Catz, Western Wolves? No, it's Western Wolves, Mad Catz. Okay, it's very important to get that the right way around. Now, down in the bottom right though, spawning as the purple Terran from Millennium, it is DieStar, who had no comment on Daisy's play style of a nice little timing. I thought it was a really good timing. 2 base all in. Like, seriously, DieStar, play a bit of Zerg, man, and you will learn all about the 2 base all-ins from Protoss players. Oh, that brings me back to the beautiful days of Winds of Liberty, when I was maining Zerg, and, well, I still main Zerg, to be honest. I wasn't just a patch Zerg. I like Zerg, but I do play a lot of random too, because it improves your casting. Or I like to think it does anyway. You just get a general sense of the game a bit more, timings and stuff like that. Of course, when I'm not being traitorous and playing League of Legends, because I'm going to be honest, playing League of Legends is a lot more relaxing than playing StarCraft. And if you've cast for a couple of hours, been working all day, and then come back and try and play StarCraft, your brain is just not mentally active enough to make that work. And I just think that, well, StarCraft is the best game to watch by a mile. So cool, so precise, but focusing for that long after casting and streaming and working makes my brain hurt. Anyway, we saw CC first come down here from DieStar. Should talk about that a little bit. We also got a Nexus first coming down, so both players going super economical. Why can you get away with that on Whirlwind? Well, let me tell you, because for spawn position, you don't know where your opponent is. You're not going to get proxied unless your opponent is doing something very brave. And actually in TVP, you'd have to be exceptionally brave, ridiculously brave. There are some rushes you can get on Whirlwind, but they're usually it's say like a temple from Zerg is possible. It's plausible because you can scout in time with an Overlord as well. So anyway, that's completely off topic because there's no Zerg player in this game, but nonetheless, just thought I'd throw it out there what it's all going down with. Anyway, barracks are being added on here. This is all looking okay at the moment. Just a couple of well, 2 barracks off the back of this. May even see a 3rd one. I'd like to see a 3rd one personally because, well, 1, there's no gas. 2, if you've gone CC first, the 3rd barracks just means that you're a little bit more safe. You can get away with 2, but 3 is a bit safer, and especially when you don't know exactly what your opponent's doing because the scout hasn't gone down yet. Scouting cross positions first is DieStar, so he's going to know his opponent's spawning close, but just not which close. So that makes scouting a little bit awkward because he's going to have to do at least 2 diagonals now. Or could potentially have to do 2 diagonals unless he scouts correctly next, because I believe that the vertical spawn positions are still possible. And yeah, DieStar appears to be wandering back over to the top right, so that means he's had 2 diagonals, going to get a much later scout. The probe, just wandering his way around, knows that basically DieStar is here because he's scouting all the other positions. Will just sneak past C's at the command center. C's is already an orbital command. Not going to get much more information though because the 2 Marines are going to get killed off. So a bit frustrating there for Daisy, but nothing too bad. More frustrating actually for DieStar is the fact that he's got no scouting information at all. He just flat out doesn't know what his opponent's doing. Doesn't know it's Nexus first, and would struggle to know it's Nexus first. Unless he scouts very soon, and I don't think you could even get up there. And the reason it'd be difficult to tell is because you'd have to be able to make it up into the main to see how many probes are there, because the probe transfer won't give you an accurate idea of how many probes are at the natural. You'd have to get the vision of the main base to know exactly, or get a good, any way to really theorize when that came down. And with the Stalker, with the Zealot there, and the Mothership Core up on the high ground, plus a Stalker on its way out, it would be challenging to get the scout out. But I'll come to the SCV. The SCV may actually be able to get this if the Stalker doesn't pop in time. That'd be pretty cool. We'll be careful. We'll get up. We'll see that the robotics facility's there. Gets taken out. Can't get a count on the gases though. And so again, doesn't know exactly when this Nexus came down. That That's not a huge problem, but could maybe tell by the timing of the robotics facility, unless he's worried something's hidden behind. Of course, there is something hidden behind the mineral line in the form of that forge, getting down the +1 ground armor sooner than that of the engineering bay even starting for DieStar. With good Chrono boost, Daisy's going to get a big lead in terms of upgrades, so mid and late going to be good. Clearly a very worried DieStar as well. Double bunker here up at the front. The Stalkers just sitting around, maybe just being a little bit concerned. I'd be concerned if I'd seen a robotics facility though, or perhaps some drop play coming through. The Observer coming through, gonna get a nice little scout there, and yeah. Twilight Council, once more, very similar builds all going down. Only difference is there's no robotics bay yet, so probably could see that. It depends whether it's going to be the same timing, but I don't think it is, because these two gateways are a lot sooner than game number 1. Game number 1, we saw the robotics bay and the Twilight Council both started before that of any additional gateways. It's just one game, Robo Facility, Robo Bay, Forge and Twilight Council all rushed out. It's a very tech heavy play. Now DieStar is taking up the third. This is going to give him a solid upgrade advantage. Upgrade economic advantage, do get it right. And this economic advantage is mainly going to be through mules, and yeah, War Prism coming down, we are going to be seeing some drops. That's pretty cool. And there was a missile turret there in the 2 bunkers, but not really much in terms of defense here. We could even see a nice little slip through trying to get in, plus the Templar Archive, so a big difference in terms of playstyle coming down at the moment from Daisy compared to game number 1, really shaking it up. Still going to be going for some interesting 2-base play predominantly. Not an all-in, oh actually no, there we go. There we go, with 3 additional gateways taking us up to 6 gates, plus a Roblo, a Templar Archives, and plus 2 armor coming down. This could be an Archon style play actually. It could be charged on Archon, especially with charge coming down. Nice big 2-base timing push. The Archon's really soaking up a lot of the damage there. The armor just means the Zealots will be able to tank up more, especially with the infantry fire, which will be quite interesting. We've also got the probe moving up here for Daisy. There is 400 minerals, so it could be a Nexus. Yeah, there we go. Nexus is going to be thrown out. And Storm is also coming down, so basically this is going to be just very heavy and High Templar. Lots of Zealots to soak up damage, and once the High Templar are blowing their Storms, they morph into an Archon. All looking good. So I'd say altogether, this is probably a relatively good-ish position at the moment for DieStar, just based on the fact that his third base has been up a lot sooner. He's 8 workers ahead, and the army supply is relatively similar. My only concern is when Storms come out, because we all know Terran players do not carry an umbrella. They're clearly not from England. They are not prepared for stormy weather or rain and storm, and that just means that, well, they can get wrecked by them. It depends how it hits. But the third has been seen, and this also could act as a bit of a false trail, red herring for DieStar. Maybe thinking, okay, well, he's got a third. He's not going to be doing anything nasty behind that. And if we look, none of these additional gateways have been seen. Nothing else. I love this, by the way. Phone cannon plus a High Templar at the edge of the base. That means feedback on a medevac will take it out quick. Now, ooh, a Zealot warping coming down here. A couple of Marines are in position. Big warping coming down in the main base. What is DieStar going to do? Is he going to pull back? Charge for these Zealots is done. They do have +2 armor about to kick in. It's 10 in-game seconds away. 4 of those Zealots getting dropped down behind enemy lines, ready to try and close up the gap to that infantry. +2 now just kicks in. It's going to mean those Zealots will trade better against the Marines. Still not amazingly, but while the drop does get cleaned up, it managed to kill 5 workers and still keeps DieStar ahead though. Unfortunately, those storms, oh my goodness, that first storm was immense, and 1 medevac goes down too, but the storms, 3 of them blown very, very quickly. Another nice storm though, that's what we're talking about, and well, that was shut down very, very nicely. Zealots walked in towards the third. We do see the DieStar now losing 10 workers. Is still up by 9 though. The War Prism play, just so solid. Harassing absolutely everywhere simultaneously. Ghost Academy nearly finished, ready to start that Ghost production. Try and deal with the High Templar. But this high Zealot count will deal with the Ghosts fairly well. As long as the Ghosts don't get amazing EMPs off, you do need to be a little bit careful, but still, small little push coming in here to the front. This is Daisy just taxing DieStar's multitasking to the absolute limit, saying, okay, how many places can you be in at once? Because that's what I'm trying to punish you for. I'm trying to make sure that you just can't defend all of this. 1 medevac there with a couple of units in it. Does need to be slightly careful. No blink for these Stalkers, so can't close down the distance too fast. But the Archons are moving up, trying to get a couple of shots off. We've got drops still happening in the main. If that Ghost Academy goes down, it would be devastating. The third already being forced to fall back. Very, very annoying seeing this. The War Prism taking a couple of shots from the Vikings. The Ghost Academy should be able to get saved, but only if it gets over there quickly. It may not now get saved. That could be disastrous. The Zealots will get it. That was while he was upgrading as well. 3 ghosts on the way out, but then you're going to have to wait for the next Ghost Academy to finish, and that was an amazing snipe off there by Daisy, and does actually put DieStar quite substantially behind, because now DieStar is not able to deal with those High Templar effectively. Doesn't have EMPs for the Zealots. There's still a Zealot working away at this refinery. You're gonna actually get it down. There's no way that you're gonna get over there in time to defend it, and it might not be the biggest loss ever, but it just means that all in all, Daisy's lost well, about 1,800 less resources than that of his opponent, and specifically a lot of gas has been lost by DieStar, but nothing really gas-centric lost as of yet by Daisy. He's only losing minerals, and that just means that all the trades are going to be a little bit better. The gas, the intensity of Daisy's army is going to be higher because he's getting a lot of high-tech stuff. He's getting Colossi out now as well, and as the Colossus count just climbs higher and higher, Vikings become essential. Admittedly, we already do have some coming down, but only 3 of them because the Ghost production being prioritized. Remember as well, the Mobius reactor, very late. That was nearly done researching the first Ghost Academy before it sniped off, and it's also that this really integral play by using the War Prism Zealot drop so much is forcing DieStar to chuck down so many missile turrets just to make sure that doesn't happen again. And again, wasted, well, not wasted, but resources allocated to something that could be spent elsewhere if that War Prism play hadn't have been quite so effective. Work count as well now for the first time in a long period ahead for Daisy, who's busy taking up a 4th base, going to be staying a base up, just trying to really find a nice engagement angle, buy a bit more time, hopefully be able to squeeze out another Colossus. If another Colossus does get out, it's going to be a lot easier to defend this. Once again, I hear the swishing side blades of Zealots making their way through, and ooh, nice little pick off there by the Ghost, but still, the Zealots alone stealing some nice damage. They're about to have +3 armor as well. The entire Protoss force about to get +3 armor. Are we going to see a Doom drop? That can be pretty good, and oh my goodness, the pylons. All the pylons is all I can say there. Nice little EMP went down. I think I heard that. Didn't manage to get any of the High Templar though, so they're still all sitting there full energy. The Zealots trying to just deal with a couple of supply depots, trying to pick off the Marines that are charging, and 2 High Templar unfortunately sitting in the back being like, oh, I should have become an Archon. We should have become an Archon. And then regretting their decision for not doing so immediately as they both die in that little puff of red glow. That'd be a horrible way to die, turning into a puff of red glow, I reckon. It'd be quite painful. Now, 4th base is up, not mining yet, but look at this from Daisy. Daisy, even though the supplies are equal, just the army value for Daisy specifically in the gas count is about 1,000 higher. That means this army is more supply effective than that of DieStar's. DieStar needs to get great EMPs off, which is possible. There's 12 ghosts, but also the 7 Vikings need to make sure that they're able to pick off the Colossi. They're able to prioritize the targeting and actually knock them down, because if they stay up, that's a lot of damage output. The Stalkers could try and deal with it quite quickly, although there's only 2 Stalkers, so dealing with the Vikings will be hard. It's the Archons that are going to have to deal with that, and if they stack, the Archons will deal fantastically with the Vikings, but if they're spread, less well because of their reduced range. So these are some of the big things that basically DieStar needs to be aware of, but also so does Daisy, who's chucking down pylons everywhere. What is with all the pylons, Daisy? There's far too many pylons in your main base, I'm sure of it. I'm sure you don't need that many to get to 200 with where you were at. But yeah, now we do have the Protoss force moving in, some Zealots coming around the back, and that's actually going to force back for the moment DieStar, who sees this army and just says, nah, I don't think I really want to take the fight. Does go for some EMPs, but the storms already going down, some really nice storms on so many of these Vikings. The Archons, though, taking some hits from EMPs themselves, and well, the Vikings dealing quite nicely with most of this Protoss force, but back to the third, the Zealots just annihilating this economy of DieStar, and that could run into some problems, because all that really needs to happen now is just full on Daisy. If Daisy holds this counter push, which is possible because there's a good number of High Templar here and a couple of Storms, well, if that is able to get saved, these Zealots have done more than enough damage, especially when the natural base and main are nearly mined out. So, very frustrating. There's also this 4th base, remember. So, actually, Daisy arguably could just afford to sacrifice the space and go, do you know what? Have it. It's yours. Take it. see if I can. We'll run in some Zealots though, as well as a few more units, but they're streaming in kind of single file at the moment, which isn't ideal. But here comes the storms. These storms are what are so important. Good storms still coming down. A lot of the army staying up, but the repeated storms everywhere. The feedbacks on the medevac's just really stopping it. And DieStar now loses the vast majority of his force. The army supply 61 to 41 in Daisy's favor, but it's the worker supply. 55 workers have been killed by Daisy in this game. Absolutely crazy. And this means the DieStar is down at 48, and with the muling is going to have to be fairly intense to bring that back. Cleaning up of that drops there is the intense muling. DieStar's economy, or at least middle income, a lot higher than that of Daisy's, but Daisy's gas income through the roof, getting double Colossus production as well. And where are the Vikings, I hear you ask? Well, the Vikings, they don't want in on this party. They need to be medevacs first. Medevac pilots do get priority, especially when your medevac cannon is currently sitting at 0, because otherwise the splash, the storms, the thermal lances, they're just going to rinse your army so quickly. And the medevacs are just needed so you can heal off that damage to try and make it a bit more effective against this late game composition. It's also worth noting though that the Ghosts are in production now, but there's none there at the moment. That means the Zealots won't have their shields knocked down for a while. They can be so damn tanky. The Planetary Fortress though is going to be helpful, but to be honest, Daisy now racking up 50 army supply advantage as well as a 16 worker supply advantage is looking quite nice. Daisy with the 4th base as well for a long period of time, just keeping that solid income. The gas income should be slightly higher for Daisy actually. I'm trying to work out where that difference is coming from. Oh, the 3rd was taken out. That's why these two gas geysers aren't actually mining for the moment, but that's fine. Once they kick in, it will give a small gas advantage. But DieStar going this bio composition MMM doesn't really need that much gas, and that, unless of course you do the medevacs, then you do. Now, here we go with the engagement. We've got the Colossi up here at the back. A couple of Ghosts in the army, but there comes the storms, and oh my goodness, the storms are big at that. The medevacs, the Vikings, they take a lot of damage. GG is cooled, and DieStar is going to be able, Daisy is going to be able to take the 2-0 there in a pretty awesome best of 3. That was a bit of a longer game, so I hope you did enjoy it. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, like the video, leave a cool comment and subscribe. If you're watching on Twitch, you're awesome. Twitch.tv/Madals. Go give that a follow. Thanks all for tuning in. Streamers, there will be more stuff coming out. YouTube, flick over to my channel and you can find some more content there.